Hey everybody, this is Armand, and today I'm going to discuss with you the concept of intonation and how to intonate your guitar. The two examples I will be doing them on will be my Tune-O-Matic and my Floyd Rose guitars. So for all of you who do not have a Tune-O-Matic or a Floyd Rose, it'll be some combination between these two because all the bridges are essentially the same for intonation. So let's talk about some intonation. Now you've probably heard the word intonation and you have probably a slight grasp of what it is, but what really is intonation? Intonation is where you have a guitar and you can put it into tune, open tune, so it means when you hit the open strings, they are in tune, but also that means every fret, if you fret the note and pluck it, and you put it to a tuner, all the notes will be in tune, all the way up the fretboard. Now the way this is achieved is there's a mathematical relationship between the distance of these frets apart and the frequency of the notes. So if you notice they go in an odd pattern, it's not linear, it's more of like an exponential type of function. So it's like smaller all the way up here and then they get very small. Well, the way that the mathematical relationship works is based on the scale length of the guitar. So down here you have the end of your scale length, and it's not necessarily going to be perfect, so what they have done is they have created this concept of things called saddles, and the saddles are those little thingies on here, and they're attached to these screws, and when you rotate the screws they move up and down a minor amount. Now when your guitar was made, it might not have necessarily been made perfectly, so in order to allow for this margin of error, and in order to allow for different strings, like larger or smaller, and different tunings, you have those saddles so you can adjust them. So now let's go over how do you adjust the saddles. Alright, now that we've discussed the concept of what intonation is, let's go ahead and get to intonating our guitars. So what you should have is you should have all of your strings in tune on their open notes, so E, A, D, G, B, E. So then you should go back and you should go on your 12th fret, or those of you who have 24 frets, go back on the 24th fret and figure out if that fret is flat or sharp of the note it should be. For example, on your high E string, that's in tune. Now if you go to your 12th fret, you should hit it, and your tuner should read out E. Not a little bit flat, not a little bit sharp. And same with the 24th fret. It should be the same pitch, E. Now in order to adjust this, if it is not correct, if this fret, the 12th or 24th frets, are sharp, so higher of a pitch than they should be, you need to move this saddle away from the fingerboard. So take your little saddle and get it to move that way. And then conversely, if your 12th or 24th frets are flat, so lower than they should be, you need to move this little saddle closer to the fingerboard. Alright, so let's review that real quick. You have your 12th fret higher of a pitch than it should be. Take the saddle, move it away from the fingerboard. So get in here with your little screwdriver and adjust that to where the saddle moves away a small increment that way. Depending how flat or how sharp you are, just kind of discern how far you should move. So it'll be kind of a guess and check thing, but I recommend you tune your string down and then tune it back up after you adjust it, so you'll make sure it's correct. Alright, and then you go ahead and move down your strings and make sure they're all correct. So that's how you intonate your guitar. Let's go ahead and move over to a Floyd Rose, and I'll show you how to do that. Alright, so the same procedure applies for testing if you're flat or sharp at your 24th and 12th frets on this type of guitar. Now, before you do the intonation, you should make sure that your bridge is properly floated in your body. Check the sidebar for a link, or check my other videos. I have a video on how to float the bridge, so make sure your bridge is floated before you try to do this. The way you do this is you have a second Allen wrench that comes with your guitar. You have your regular sized one that fits into these and your lockers on the other end, and then you have this one which is a little bit smaller and it fits into these little pegs that are right in here. But you can't easily access these as your strings are tuned, so go ahead and tune down your string to where it has some play, get this in here, unscrew it, but before you do that, I want you to take note. There are 3 holes in here. if I hold the guitar sideways, you'll see right here there are 3 possible holes for you to position this screw into, and that is because these little fork arms that come out of your arms right here can't reach that far up and down here. So what you do is you figure out if you need it closer or further, and you loosen it just a little bit, and remember where it is, move it back or forth, because it will adjust itself the moment you loosen it. And you just go ahead and adjust it similarly backwards or forwards. There's only so far back it'll go, though. Alright, so that's the end of the intonation lesson for today. Now let's do a quick review before I finish the video. So if you will, just kind of a lame way to remember this, hold your guitar upside down like this, and if you remember, your pitches are too low on your fretboard, so if your 12th fret is lower than it should be, then you need to move these lower, so closer to the fretboard. So conversely, if your pitches on the fretboard are too high, you move these away from the fingerboard. Alright? So kind of a weird way to remember it, but just remember, hold your guitar upside down, pitch is too high, and you move your bridge pieces away from the fretboard. Alright? So I hope you guys have a nice guitaring day. If you have any trouble, just message me, comment me, anything. I'm here to help you guys.